good and what's poppin'? And as you can see, I have a special guest. That's my 3-month-old. Her name is Kaylani, and she chilling. Silly girl. But yeah, how I found out I was pregnant, actually my baby's father knew before I did, because y'all, it was February 2020 and my stomach was feeling like weird for the last couple of weeks, and it wasn't like my stomach wasn't hurting. I didn't have to take a number 2. I didn't have to throw up. Didn't have no stomach ache. Like, it was just a weird sensation in my stomach. So I kind of had a thought in my head that I might be pregnant, because like I was late, but I'm a little slow, so I don't really be thinking sometimes. So it was one day I was telling my baby's father, and this is when we used to work at the same place. Me and my baby's father, we used to work at the same place. So it was one time when we was at work, I texted him and I was like, my stomach kind of feel weird. So he came out where I was at and we was talking for a little bit, and he was like, well, I think you're pregnant. And y'all, I'm goofy, so instantly I started laughing. Like I couldn't even control my laughter. Like I was laughing uncontrollably. Like people probably was looking at me like, what is wrong with that chick? Like I was laughing really bad. But anyway, he was telling me like, I think you might be pregnant or whatever. And you know, after he told me that, I took me a pregnancy test like the next day, and it was weird because it came out as positive, but then later that night it had said negative. So I'm like, that's weird. Like, why is it saying positive then saying it's negative? So you know me, I instantly went to go buy another pregnancy test, because either I'm pregnant or I'm not. So I went to go buy me another pregnancy test, right? So I come back home and I went to go take it. Mind you, the second time I took the pregnancy test, it was like a name brand pregnancy test. It started the blue. It's something with the blue word blue in it, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I came home with that second pregnancy test, and it had the ones with like the word on it and stuff. But it had the one with the words on it, right? So I took it, and it had said that I was pregnant. So y'all, at this point when I found out I'm pregnant, I was so happy. Like, I wasn't upset, I wasn't mad or anything, because most times, like, if you're a teenager, which I was 19, I'm 20 now, but when I found out when I was 19, basically last year, I was happy. Like, and I was happy to tell my mom was happy, you know, my baby's father was happy, and I tried to hide my pregnancy as long as I could. But once June came, that's when we found out the gender, that I was having a girl. I was so excited that I ran to Facebook and was like, your girl having a little mini me. So I was happy. But here goes the ultrasound right here. Like, I was so happy, y'all, because when we went to one of our ultrasounds for her, we caught her on the screen where she you gonna let me mommy talk? But they caught her on the screen yawning. Like, y'all, I really wanted to capture that, but I couldn't, because I'm laying down in the bed thing or whatever, so I couldn't do that. And when I found out I had girls, I was so excited. I didn't even know when I was ready for her. I didn't even know when it was time for my baby to come, y'all, because 2 days before I had my daughter, my water had broke, but I didn't know my water broke, because I thought when your water break, it'd be a lot of fluid coming out, but a lot of fluid didn't come out of me or nothing. It was just a little bit, so I didn't think nothing of it. And I called the doctor. They told me to come in the next day, but I didn't, because I ain't seen nothing of it. So on that Friday, which was 2 days later, on that Friday, I had my it was like a doctor's appointment for them to ultrasound so they can check how the baby was doing and stuff. And the ultrasound lady was like, she couldn't find, like, she couldn't get her to like move or anything. So she was like, it looked like you lost a lot of fluid and stuff like that. So she and some other doctor told me to go straight to the hospital because they need to get her out of me because I lost the fluid. So I go to the hospital. I'm with there with my baby's father and my mother and whatnot. We get to the hospital. I'm getting ready. They're asking me all these questions and blah, 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 or whatever. So they told me that I would have to get a C-section because, like, I'm guessing because if it was like, I don't know, I just know I had to get a C-section. So I was kind of scared because I was coming in the hospital thinking I'm not gonna get no needles in me. I don't want no epidural, blah, 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 blah. So when they told me I had to get a C-section, I was crying, y'all. Like, I was so freaking sad. Like, that was I think that was like a few, like, I was crying like a mug, y'all. And then my mama and my baby daddy, they was feeling sad for me because I was sad they had to stick me with needles and stuff like that. And I was just so upset, y'all. Like, I was so sad because I'm thinking, like, I hope my baby gonna be okay. I hope my baby gonna be okay. But I was waiting, as I'm in the hospital, I'm waiting for them to set up the OR for them to get her outside of me. So as I'm waiting, right, I feel perfectly fine. Besides me crying, I feel perfectly fine. Besides me thinking of that, like, physically I felt fine. So a nurse come in, she was like, you don't feel that? You don't feel your contractions? I'm like, I don't feel nothing. Like, I feel perfectly fine. Like, but she was just like, well, you're lucky because a lot of pregnant women be feeling having contractions, blah, 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 whatever. But with me, I think I only was getting contractions in my back because during my pregnancy, like, my back was always hurt. Like, I always had, like, my baby's father to rub my back because it was always my back, never my stomach, or I never had, like, stomach contractions or whatever. But anyway, when I get to the OR, y'all, I'm feeling like scared because as I get in there, I'm feeling hot and cold at the same time. Then I feel like I have a sensation where, like, I'm gagging a little bit because, like, I feel like I'm finna throw up. So I'm thinking, like, I'm finna die. I'm thinking I'm finna die, y'all. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I really thought I was finna die. And because I just wasn't feeling right. So as I'm in the ER, they setting up still, blah, 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 stuff. They told me to sit up. They told me to sit up so they can put the needle in me. So y'all, I'm up here crying. I'm holding the nurse's hand. And I want to thank all the nurses out there too. They've been patient with me because I was crying like a little kid. Like, seriously, I was really crying like a little kid. And I'm scared because the whole time that's running in my head is like, what if I get paralyzed from the waist down? Like, and that's what was making me more stressed. Like, I think that's why my blood pressure was going up because I just kept stressing or whatever. And when I was laying down on the operating table, I think I did throw up. I have threw up. They had put like the suction thing in my mouth to get the throw up out and stuff like that. So all I know, they keep touching my leg, touching my feet, and asking if do I feel anything or am I numb or stuff, because they want to make sure I'm numb first. After they numb me, I guess they started to cut my stomach and stuff. Like, I ain't feeling it or nothing. Thank God I did. But I guess my baby father was like sitting right next to me, so he was just like telling me, like, he was telling me I had to tuck her out and stuff like that. tuck her out and stuff like that. But after they had got her out of me, she was like crying, like it was a different type of cry. I guess it's because she had like fluid in her body or something, I don't know. But that's why like I couldn't see my daughter the same day I had her, because they had to stick like tubes down her throat and nose to clear all that fluid out. So when they said, when they didn't pass my baby back, I'm like, I'm hoping everything okay or whatever. But you know, my baby's father, he was telling me that everything was good and stuff, and I was so grateful for that. Hold up, I'm thirsty. So you know, I was happy and everything, whoop to whoop. But let me tell y'all about how my job did me bogus. I get laid off from my housekeeping job in March, right? So I'm like, I'm laid off, I got a home baby, I need to make money so I can be able to feed my child and get the necessities for my child, right? I tried filing for unemployment, but it said I only would have been getting $50 a week. You pregnant and you laid off and you only would have been getting $50 unemployment, like how you gonna be able to get the necessities you need for your child? So I started looking for another job, right? But at the end of May is where I had applied for it was like a personal care assistant, like was help around the building and whatnot. So you know, I'm thinking I'm finna be at this job for a long time, for a year or whatever. I'm happy because the job was nice, it was easy, it was cool. So fast forward, I had left my job to go on my maternity leave, which at the end of September, because my baby was supposed to be born on October 10th, but she was born on October 2nd. So I had left for maternity leave at the end of September, and you know, I'm thinking I'm finna come back to work in November, right? So I call them up and I'm like, I'm ready to come back to work, woo woo or whatever. And my manager, she was basically saying, okay, you're gonna have to talk to the administrator, blah 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 blah. The administrator called me basically saying, we have to cut your position, you know, thank you for working with us, we're gonna send you a letter in the mail. And I'm looking like, really y'all basically fired me while I was on maternity leave? And I was ready to come back, because like, how y'all gonna fire me on maternity leave? So I called the job and they called me back, telling me they're gonna cut my position. I'm just like, if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I hope everybody have a wonderful night. Peace.